Coach, what were the first thoughts when you saw the bracket come out last night?
Well, it seems like every year that I watch the seedings, it's always a surprise. So a little bit surprised and a little bit not surprised. We're going to see the winner of Bryant and Marist, and going to try to learn about as much about those two teams as we possibly can in the next few days here.
When it came down to, I guess, 1 versus 2 with you and Notre Dame, what are your thoughts with how that broke down?
Well, I'm sure it was difficult for them. It sounded, it sounded like we might have had the edge numbers-wise, but they had the head-to-head win, and which I think kind of resonated through the pairings. They're going to have to go to Denver. I think that the one bright side there is somebody's going to have to travel to Denver, and we didn't end up in that bracket. It's a difficult place to play with just trying to catch your breath and the altitude there. So we'll be in the northern seed, which I think we'd much prefer.
What's the process like for you guys this week? You went through it last year when you won't actually know the team you're playing until late on Wednesday.
Well, I think we're not going to do too much with the team as far as educating them about those teams yet. I think as coaches, we're going to be pretty well prepared for either team. We may do some things in practice that will work against either team. So even though the players are doing it, they're not know why they're doing it. So just trying to prepare them in any way we can.
Coach, you think it's a chip on your guys' shoulder maybe? Do you think they feel personally slighted getting the 2 seed over the 1 seed?
No, I hope so. Any type of motivation that we can get this time of year to help beat the next opponent will help us.
Coach, just looking at this tournament over the past decade, no matter where you're seated, you're going to have to play someone. Notre Dame's the 1 seed, and they could get Cornell or Albany in the second round. Just what have you kind of seen with how the game's grown, and especially this tournament?
Yeah, the first, we didn't get by the first round last year, so you got to be ready for anybody, as our guys know, and play the winner of Virginia and Hopkins that's a Final Four right there. Traditionally, it has been. So there's no easy way into the Final Four of the championship game. You've got to come ready to play, and you got to do what you do best this time of year.
When y'all were down in Philly, Coach Janowski was very complimentary of your bunch with how much senior leadership you have, and he said you can't overestimate how big that is come playoff time and elimination games. How much does it help having guys that have been there and this is it for them?
Well, I think it's I think experience is really important this time of year, and this team has seen all kinds of situations. We've got in the midfield 3 fifth-year players. So we've got 2 seniors and a junior on attack at the offensive end of the field, and defensive end we've got Bobby Wardwell in the cage as a senior and a very experienced close defense. So I can only help. We've been in a lot of different situations. Last week was a great test. They were throwing a lot of zone defense against us, and they came out ready to play in the first half. Thought their goalie was terrific. So that's great experience going into the playoffs.
Coach, if you were on the committee, would you pick Syracuse to be number 1? Why not?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't have all the numbers in front of me. They use the RPI quite a bit, the strength of schedule, which is your top 10 teams, and then your wins in the top 5, 10, and so on. So, I'm sure we had an argument. I'm sure we had a bunch of numbers there. But again, it looks like it came down to head-to-head, and Notre Dame beat us.
Coach, some of your players have talked about a goal of trying to get those 3 trophies this year. You've got 2 of them. You're embarking on the 3rd. What do you think of that goal?
I think I think the guys have used it as motivation, and it was kind of one step at a time. When they talked about that. So, like I said earlier, I think anything we can do to keep our motivation, add to our motivation, can only help us this time of year.